Hey there everyone, it's time from Siphon T, C, T, and I'm coming at you with another video. Thank you guys for coming back. I'm so excited to do this. I was asked a few stream. What the heck was that? Huh? I guess it's just a tradition on this channel for like random stuff to fall. Oh, it was a water. And I'm not gonna stop this recording. You guys are seeing all this live. But like I said, guys, I'm happy to be back. For those who've watched my Islander guy, I appreciate you. Feedback was absolutely astounding on that. And this community has just been great. The community has been great since I've joined. And I want to keep giving you guys content. So we're going to do a tier list maker for Uprising. I do want to put this out to start. This is my opinion. Hold on, everyone. Did someone just say they had an opinion and it's not factual? Whoa, hold on. We need to stop the presses. Someone has an opinion and they're not saying what they're saying is not facts. Oh my lord, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like I said, guys, all jokes aside, like I said, I'm just one person with one opinion. The best way to find out this stuff for yourself is just play. The only way we can find out stuff is if we play. So, let's go ahead and get started to it. I have different rankings than most. Most people are like SA minus 1, 2, 3, rogue, meta, blah 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 blah. So mine are the top meat decks. Top meat decks. Because for some reason I can't spell meta. These are the decks that you know you're gonna see. You know they're gonna be powerful. They're gonna be doing some dumb stuff. Watch out for these decks. Next, we have Meta Busters. These are the decks that are trying to tell these decks to, like, go home. These are the decks trying to beat these. Rogue. Rogue is just like, you're there, you're kind of doing your own thing. You're just trying to have fun, man. You're just trying to have fun. You understand that you're not playing probably the most powerful deck. But it still has a chance to be able to do something. Fringe means, realistically, we can all agree, like, it's not great. It's just not great. But, you know, there's some legs. You could see some inklings. It could be there. Not information. Not information means Dromai, Phi, Islander. You go here. We have not had any official tournaments there. The set technically isn't even legal. I feel like it would be dishonest, even with that much testing, to try to put one of these inside of a tier when we just don't actually know. We can have opinions on them, and I'll tell you guys what I think of each hero and where I think they might end up. But at the end of the tier list, they will be right here. And then we have worse than a copper token. I would rather have a copper token as my hero, because at least it might do something. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start with the new Uprising heroes. Starting with Dromai. I think Dromai is very interesting. A lot of people are saying she's a weaker Prism, and I see where they're coming from with that. But I think the thing people have to realize is she's not really weaker Prism. She is a different illusionist. Yes, her and Prism are putting permanents on the battlefield, and they're playing all the illusionist cards. That's all fine, well and good. Obviously, you can see the comparison there. But the perms that they're putting on the field do different things, and they serve a different purpose. Where I think Prism kind of wants to go a little bit taller when it comes to offensiveness, even though it can go wide. Dromai, when it specifically wants to go wide, and it has a lot of utility. I'm not saying Prism doesn't have utility. Like some of the auras do have a lot of utility, but like these dragons, what some of these cards do, like for example, one of the dragons is on attack, you look at their hand and you vanish. Seems good. There's another one where if it hits, you can blow up equipment. Seems good. Prism can't do that. A Prism is just trying to, you know, make her attacks coming for a little bit less, pump her attacks, you know, block some of the damage with the spectral shields. Again, they're trying to do two different things. And I think people just truly have to realize that and stop trying to say both of these characters are doing the same thing, which one's better. If I wanted to give a rating right now, I would probably just say it's Rogue at this point. One, we need hammered out Dromai list. Two, we need actual testing with Dromai. One of the biggest issues I've personally had with my testing with Dromai is when to, I like to call it evolving your Ashlings. When I was first playing Dromai, I was just like, and I'll make that Aether Wing, and I'll make that dragon, and I'll make that other dragon, and I was just doing this willy-nilly. And what I found out was, yeah, that's cool, that's fun, but then when your whole entire hand is just invoke dragons, and you don't have a single Ash to transform, you kind of can't play the game. So I think the delicate balance of what dragons to run and when, and then when to evolve them, I think that's going to be the biggest learning curve with Dromai, which is why I have it in Rogue. Fi. I think Fi out of the box is probably the most straightforward of all the heroes, and I think he would probably be the easiest to tier. I think the thing that benefits Fi is we've already had Katsu, and you might say, well, Dromai and Prism play similar, and I'm like, no, because Prism is one also play things at instant speed and disrupt. Well, not disrupt, but these static effects. Dromai isn't really one to play at instant speed. It's one to go wild with a bunch of dragons and have some utility. But Katsu and Fi play very, very similar. Obviously, Katsu has that combo, so it wants to play things in specific orders. Fi is a little more straightforward, where it just cares that you're playing a certain kind of card more oftentimes than not. Obviously, you don't always have to go full draconic builds. But obviously, the power when it comes to power level, those most likely will be the better builds. Like I said, getting to start with the Phoenix Flame, that's free material. I think whenever you're at a cheap material, you're already doing something very powerful. And the fact that you can pretty much get it for free whenever you're really wanting to go off on certain turns, I think that's fantastic. And again, like I said, out of the box, I think Fi is going to be the best hero when it comes to the new ones. Where would I actually place it? Honestly, I think Fi could actually be a meta deck. Like at one of the top meta decks. Like, is it getting Living Legend in 3 months? I don't think so. And do I think it's at like the top of the meta? No, I think it would be more towards the bottom. But I definitely think that it's going to be really good once we get a little bit of practice on there. Lastly is Islander. Islander, for those who know, that's my baby. I love Islander so much. I'm so excited to be able to play her in Uprising. Sadly, this is going to be probably the hardest deck to play. I don't know in the whole entire format, but definitely of these three heroes, it's going to be really hard. Deck list is going to be a big contingency, like what cards you're running. Being able to constantly have a blue in the arsenal is going to be harder said than whatever the saying is. I don't 100% remember. Like harder being said than done, something like that. I don't know. Either said than done. That's what it is. And realistically, is that card that you're putting there going to be that impactful at that moment? Because I think a lot of the stock of this list is like things like like Frigid, is like where the allure of this deck would be being able to play that instant speed on their opponent's turn, give them a frostbite, and basically tell them that their turn's over. I think again that's one of the big drawbacks. Things to draw to. One of the big drawbacks is obviously the lower life. When it comes to damage output, the way you're gonna most likely have this deck built, you're not pumping out uber amounts of damage. Like you can do a little increments of damage here and there, but you're not like OTKing anyone. You're not having these big swing turns with damage. It's gonna be small damage here and there, and I can see where that turns people off because it's just gonna have a very hard way of winning. Odom, it's gonna be more akin to Odom. Odom is just trying to take it slow, build up advantage over time. Odom is trying to fatigue you out. We are actually trying to kill you. It is just it's gonna be super late. And also, if the opponent does have AB, it gets much harder to kill. So that's when you're really gonna have to tune your deck to be able to handle something like that. Where would I place it? As much as it pains me, I would almost want to put it in Meta Buster. But I think it's just gonna be too hard. Right now, honestly, I'd say it's Fringe. Even though, so here's the weird thing. I think we have good matchups across the board, but it's just the sole fact that if we're not doing our plan A fast enough, most of these decks will just kill us. I don't think I think our worst matchup is Odom, and then the mirror match, which I don't think we'll be facing it that much. I don't think we'll be facing Odom or the mirror match that much. But unless you're just constantly disrupting, like Briar, for example, Briar will just be like, and take 40, and take 40, and you're gonna have to block out your whole hand constantly. That's why one thing I think going first is gonna be huge with this deck, and then obviously really learning what cards are best arsenal. Which, if you check out the guide, I told you what cards are best arsenal. You know, if you just wanna check that out. Like I said, I do think it's Fringe. But yeah, at the end of the day, non-information. So starting off with real heroes, we have Dorinthia. Where does Dorinthia go? I personally think Dorinthia is Rogue. I don't think if you go to, let's just say a 64 man pro quest, that's what we're looking for, like a pretty decently sized pro quest. Just because the big tournaments are a little bit fewer and far between. And technically, we've already seen with the big pro tour that, we can assume a certain meta is going to be there, but man, we would be extremely wrong. Because especially when people just have time on their hands to test, a lot of anti-meta stuff comes out. But like I said, we're looking at traditional, like, decently sized pro quest. I think Dorinthia, specifically Dawnblade Dorinthia, I think Axis Dorinthia is like a decent mid-range variant, but I don't really know if that's where you want to be. Dorinthia does have a lot of good swing turns. I think one of Dorinthia's biggest strengths is her ability to block and still be able to attack on her turn. A lot of decks can't do that as efficiently as Dorinthia does. But I do think when it comes to blocking and attacking, she's a little bit worse than almost most of the decks that are in the top tiers. And I do think there's very few cards in the top tiers, which is one reason why she's a little bit lower. Because I think the top decks are just that much better than the rest of the decks, where I don't really think it would be fair to compare them in the same tier. Levia. I still think the deck is Fringe. I don't think the deck is fantastic. It has started winning recently, but I think that's by expert pilots of the deck, not Jimmy playing his Levia deck that he's been saving for like this special event. These are players that like exclusively play Levia, and they've been exclusively playing Levia, and they're just now winning. I think over the next few weeks, if Levia continues to put up results, we can move her into a different spot, but right now, I personally think that's Fringe. Chain, Living Legend. No, not much I can really do. It's worse than a copper token because you physically can't do anything. I wish there was like another. Is there another thing? There's not. Oh, like I said, it's worse than a copper token because you can't play it. Bravo. Where do we think Bravo is? I don't think it's a top deck. It might be moved into Meta Buster. Only because I think it is a deck that does require, against very fragile decks that need all the cards in their hand, I think Bravo's going to be really good. Like for example, Briar. Briar more oftentimes than not will race you, but if Briar's also being hit for like a combined, like let's say 12 a turn, and then getting some of its damage blocked out, especially like cards that need to hit to have go again or have one hit effects, the decks like Bravo can shine there, especially on its big Crippling Crush Dominate turns. Like a lot of Argo decks, if it gets hit by that, the game's kind of over. So I personally am gonna put Bravo into Meta Busters. That's just where I feel personally. This is the same thing about Odom. I think Odom specifically will rise in prominence just to tell Briar that it doesn't get to have fun. And I think Briar's going to be here because it's going to tell Prism it doesn't get to have fun. So, personally, I think there's going to be a little bit of rock, paper, scissors going on. But I don't think Odom by itself is that powerful, so I would put up here. I think if, let's say, Briar and Katsu didn't exist, I think Odom would probably just stick down here. But because of Briar and Katsu's Rise to Promise, I am predicting, I'm just going to put it in Meta Busters. Also show, hey, I'd rather have a Copper Token, you know why? Because I could actually be my hero. I do not know what this is, I hate Blitz. I don't know what this is, I hate Blitz. I don't know what this is, I hate Blitz. Well, I know what that is. Alright, there we go. Azalea. And worse than a Copper Token. Don't play Azalea. I don't care if you're like that one Azalea player that has the whole entire deck code for. Don't play Azalea. I've literally never lost to Azalea. Don't play Azalea. Viscerai. Personally, I think it's fringe. I think Runeblade is in a kind of a weak point right now. And most people would say, well, what Chain and Briar are amazing. I'm like, those two are amazing in spite of being Runeblades. I think with Chain obviously going away, it's a big hit to the overall pool of Runeblade. Not like cards going away, but just like the perception of Runeblade. Viscerai losing Skeleton, I definitely think changed the deck a lot. Its aggro version doesn't really kill faster than most aggro decks. Its mid-range version doesn't block fantastically. And even still, it's just like, are you really doing like that much damage? And not really. Don't play Viscerai. Kano. Honestly, I think Kano's Rogue. I think Masters of the deck should feel free to play this. I think Masters of the deck will have very good success. But I don't think Jimmy from down the street, if he decides to play Kano, I think it goes very, very wrong. I would leave Kano to the experts. Kano's a hard deck to play. I respect those that play it, because I cannot. Katsu. I think Katsu's a meta buster. Has a good matchup against Prism. Same reason Briar. For some reason, Briar's not in here. I don't know why. I don't know where Briar is, but Briar, if it was here, would be top meta decks. I think Briar and Prism are the top two decks in the format. I think Katsu just a step below Briar. I think Briar's just a better Katsu, and I think Fi might be a better Katsu. As of right now, what Katsu can do to Prism is pretty good. Obviously hits a little bit less hard than Briar, and Fi probably would. But being able to consistently do damage and in turns with Kanganora, pretty good. Loses hard to Odom, unfortunately. And I don't think the Bravo matchup is fantastic, but I'm wrong for her. Lexi, this is specifically hybrid / ice Lexi. If you're playing Lightning Lexi, you belong down here with these other players. But Harbor Lexi, honestly, I think it belongs a little bit in Meta Buster. God, no, it might. No, I won't drop it on a Rogue. I don't think it's really doing that much to Prism and Briar. Like, I don't think. Like, I've faced this match a lot as Briar, and unless they're consistently giving me frostbites every turn, Lexi doesn't really do that much. It's a very resource-intensive deck, so if you ever make Lexi block, the deck gets a lot worse. And you're not really doing that much damage. You're trying to load up frostbites, which is cool and all, but you can never have an off turn. And unlike things like Islander, like you're going to be able to do like the Islander thing more oftentimes than not. I do feel. But with Lexi, depending on how the resources in your hand line up, you may not get to. Prism, best deck in the format. I don't think it's close. with Chain and Servo being gone, I do not think there's any competition for Prism. And I do think, and I've seen Tyler Hartspor's article on this, I do believe switching to a little bit more of a Herald-based build probably is the way to go. My roommate plays primarily Herald-based build, and he dookie stomps me almost all the time because I can have a 20-point lead on him, and he can just over the turn attack me for like a total of like 45, and that's just kind of gross. And a lot of times there's nothing I can do about it because he's like attack for 7. I'm just like no blocks, and then he's like swing for 7, and I'm just like okay. He has like 2 cards in hand. What's the worst that can happen? He has like 1 resource flow. I'm fine. And then he's like, alright, crack this. 7 dominate. If it hits, draw 2. And I'm just like, oh, well, that just kind of sucks. And then he does it again. And then he hits you for 7. And you're like, cool, and now I'm down in life. Thanks, man. Thanks. I think Herald Prism has lots of swing turns. I honestly think I might agree. We might just need to switch to Heralds. I think the Aura build, as of right now, is better. But I do think if you want to leg up on next format, I'll go to Heralds. Last 2, we have Rhinar. Rhinar, honestly, I think Rhinar should be getting some love. I think it does what Levia does a little bit better. With the Intimidate and be able to show cards, it allows you to actually push damage through a little bit easier. Like I said, yeah, Rhinar. I think Rhinar's like solid. I don't think Rhinar's like fantastic. I think Rhinar's solid. Dash, I think I put Dash in Rogue here. You'll probably face a few dashes at your Pro Quest, at your FNMs. There's a few different, there's control, mid-range, aggro, pistol build, like there's a lot of different variants. If I had to pick one, I honestly would probably do aggro. I think just being able to just threaten like 20 damage a turn for low resources is pretty good. The fact that most of your attacks, if not all your attacks, will have go again, gives you a lot of freedoms that a lot of decks can't afford. Like even Briar, where a lot of Briar's attacks have go again. It's just like it's technically not guaranteed, and it's technically not guaranteed in Dash. But I would say 99 times out of 100, you're gonna get go again of your stuff. Like I said, that's gonna be the video. Obviously Briar was missing. I have no idea where Briar is. Could be anywhere. But Briar would be in top meta decks. But all in all, like I said, here's everything. Don't play these heroes, they're worse than a copper token. And that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.